In our last video, we defined what a logarithm was, how to graph it, how to switch it back and forth from logarithmic to exponential form. We want to look at some properties of logarithms that we can utilize in this video. So to begin with, remember that you have a log base 10 and a log base E button on your calculator. Those are the only ones that you have. So if you're asked to find something like the log base 2, you don't have a button on your calculator for that. So what I need to do is change my base to one of the logarithms that I do have a button for. This is the log base 10 and this is the log base E. The way I do that is with the change of base formula. So the change of base formula says if you have the log base A of x, it's almost like you can draw a little invisible line here in your mind. And so the x is going to go in the top and the a is going to go in the bottom. So we're going to break that into two separate logs with the same base. So it doesn't matter what the log is as long as the base is the same. So we can do log base 10 or we can do log base e. So I'm going to rewrite the log base 2 of 6 as the log of 6 over the log of 2. You also could rewrite that as ln 6 over ln 2. And that would give us 2.585 if we throw that into our graphing calculator. So grab your calculator if you would, and let's throw that in a couple of different ways. All right, so first, I'm going to put it in as the log of 6 over the log of 2. So log 6, that's my common log, over log 2. So again, when there's no base, we understand that to be a base of 10. If I had done that same thing with the natural log, all right, so if you're unsure of how to use your fraction builder, this thing is fabulous. You're going to go to alpha and then y equals and choose that very first option, and it gives you a genuine fraction. All right, so here's my ln button. So if I had done ln 6 over ln 2, I would have gotten the same thing. Now, there's a additional button on your calculators. See all these functions? Those are additional buttons on your calculator. So if I hit alpha F2, you'll notice number 5 there is a log. So I'm going to choose number 5, and when I do, it gives me the opportunity to type in the logarithm exactly as it appears, and it does the change of base for me. All right, so 3 different ways that we could get that value on our calculator. So here's just a review of those things that we just did. All right, then here are our properties of logarithms that we want to utilize. If you have the log of 2 things that are being multiplied, you can break that into 2 separate logs that are being added. And that would be the same if it was a log base A or if it was a log base E, ln. All right, if you have the log of 2 things being divided, you can break that into 2 separate logs being subtracted. And if you have the log of something raised to an exponent, you can move that exponent out in front and multiply by it as a constant. So we're going to skip this first example here, but look at this next one. So if we wanted to expand this logarithm, notice that I have 5 times x cubed times y. So we're going to use this multiplication rule up here, and we're going to rewrite that as the log of 5 plus the log of x cubed plus the log of y. Then, to make it even simpler, I could take my exponent, and using this last law, I could take my exponent and move it out in front and multiply by it. So that would be its expanded form. All right, if we go the opposite way, if they give me the expanded form and ask me to condense it, I have 2 logs that are being added, so I can combine that into a single log where they're being multiplied. So 2 times 32 is going to be 64. So we have the log base 4 of 64. So we're saying 4 to the what is equal to 64. 4 to the third is equal to 64. All right, look at the next one. For the next one, I have 2 logs that are being added, and they each have a number out in front. So remember that number out in front is going to become an exponent. So I'm going to rewrite log of x with that exponent of 1/2. And I'm going to write log of x plus 1 with that exponent of 3. Now I have 2 logs that are being added, and when I'm adding, I can multiply So you could leave this as x to the 1/2, or you could rewrite it as the square root of x, either one.